Right. This is basically, you know, the last, of the one of the last two Champions League round of 16 first leg games that will be taking place in the season's 2023-2024 UEFA Champions League. And we talk about Napoli taking on FC Barcelona. They will be meeting in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg on Wednesday evening, the 21st of February, right? And right, we all know the fact that this is a much anticipated encounter due to the fact that now two of Diego Maradona's former clubs will be meeting at the stadium that now bears his name. The two clubs, talking about Napoli as well as Blaugrana, they have met two previous times, in UEFA knockout ties, right? In the 2019-2020 Champions League round of 16 and the 2021-2022 Europa League knockout round of playoffs, with Barcelona actually progressing on both occasions. So both sides, have had complicated seasons. Walter Mazzari replaced Rudy Garcia at the Napoli helm, in November before he too departed on Monday, with the club a good way off the title pace in the Serie A. So Slovakia coach Francesco Calzona, has already been installed. And at Barcelona, Xavi Hernandez announced last month that he will be leaving the Camp Nou, at the end of the season, with his side struggling to replicate the form that made them the Spanish champions in the 2022-2023 season, right? So maybe if we get into a much broader discussion about this particular encounter and what to actually expect, maybe my predicted lineup, this is my predicted lineup in this particular encounter for both sides. The starting 11 for Napoli will be as follows. That's my prediction. It's just based on my own prediction, right? I foresee Meret in goal. I see De Lorenzo starting as well. Ostigard, Ramani. I also see Mazuchi and Cameroonian international Zambo Anguissa in the midfield. He will also be very key. Labotka as well. Kajusta, Politano, Osimhen obviously will be starting, right? Due to the fact that, it's a crucial encounter for the Napoleons, for the Italians, right? And Osimhen has to start because he is their key man. He will be very pivotal if Napoli are to get a result at home against against the much fancied, Barcelona. As well as their brilliant star player, key player, right? We talk about Kvaratskhelia, right? And none of these players actually risk, missing the next match, right? None of them actually, risk any, because if any of them will actually get a yellow card into this game, none of them will actually be affected by that because they don't stand a chance of missing the next game because they're not on a yellow card so far, right? And for Barcelona, the suitable lineup that I see, predicted lineup, I see Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who has just returned from injury in goal. I see Jules Koundé starting on the right-hand side. I see Ronald Araujo as well as Inigo Martinez partnering in that central defensive area. I see the Portuguese João Cancelo starting at left back. In the mid trio, I see Gundogan, Christensen playing as a central defensive midfielder, and then I see De Jong and Gundogan playing more as offensive midfielders, right? Obviously, on the right-hand side, I see Lamine Yamal starting, and then I see Lewandowski being the target man up front, and I actually see Pedri playing as a cam, as a central attacking midfielder behind the front too. So basically, there are players, obviously, if they were to be booked in this particular encounter, they do run the risk of actually missing the next game for Blaugrana if they are to progress, which includes defender Ronald Araujo, Sergio Roberto, Ferran Torres, including João Felix, right? So those are the players that actually risk missing the next game if they are to be booked in this particular encounter, right? So it is going to be a very interesting game for both sides because, they haven't been, on form. They haven't really been convincing this season. Yes, Barcelona are third in La Liga. As for the former Serie A champions, they far off the pace, right? Because both sides have actually lost, 2 games, right, in their last 6 encounters. So, the form hasn't really been good. To say the least. Barcelona have been getting scrappy victories here and there. Napoli come into this one off the back of a 1-1 draw at home against Genoa, and Barcelona come into this one off the back of a 2-1 victory, a scrappy win away to Celta Vigo, in La Liga. So, there's a lot to actually play for between both of these sides. They've been far from convincing, to say the least. And what can I say? What all we can just say is that, yeah, man, all we can just say is that obviously Barca will just win, right? This one, narrowly. It will be a narrow victory if Barcelona are to win this one, but they will. Trust. All right. Yeah, last but not least, Porto versus Arsenal. So, Porto as well as Arsenal will meet in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg on Wednesday, the 21st of February, right? Where will it be? Kickoff will take place at 10 p.m. South African time at the Estadio do Dragão, in Porto. And there's so much more to look forward to from this particular encounter, right? Because what I'm actually looking forward to in this particular encounter is the fact that, look, the Group B winners in the autumn are very much in, contention in the Premier League. I'm referring to Arsenal, and Arsenal have cause for confidence as they travel to Porto. Sérgio Conceição's side, will also quietly fancy their chances, though they finished level on points with Barcelona in the group stage and are unbeaten at home against Arsenal. They've won twice and they've actually drawn once. So the match will actually bring together, the top assist providers in this season's Champions League. Talking about Arsenal's Bukayo Saka as well as Porto's Galeno. They've both laid 4 goal assists this season. Saka has scored 3 as well as Galeno has also hit 4, right? So those are actually gonna be the key players to actually look forward to, that we need to look out for in this particular encounter between Arsenal as well as Porto, right, in Portugal. And like both teams also boast a decent, run of form. Porto have only lost 1 game in their last 6, as well as Arsenal have also lost only 1 game in their last 6. So that's pretty decent, yeah. And to actually say the least, both sides come into this particular encounter off the back of victories. Porto won in their domestic competition, the Portuguese Premier League, by 2-0 against Estrela, and we saw Arsenal trashing Burnley away from home by 5-0 in the Premier League. So, both teams do come to this game with so much confidence, with morale boosting victories over the weekend. And a predicted lineup for FC Porto will be as follows, right? Diogo Costa, João Mario, Pepe, right? Otavio, Wendell, Varela, Nico Gonzalez, Galeno, Pepe as well, the Brazilian Pepe, Francisco Conceição, as well as Ivanilson, right? The other Brazilian. So the players who actually risk missing the next game at the Emirates from this Porto side, if they are to be booked in this particular encounter, are Fabio Cardoso, Pepe, as well as João Mario, right? So my predicted lineup for the Gunners will be Raya in goal, Ben White on the right, Saliba as well as Gabriel as the center, backs, as well as Kyo, on the left-hand side. Odegaard, Rice, and Havertz providing that, much needed creativity in the middle of the park. On the right, on the wings, we'll actually see Saka, as well as Trossard, and then Gabriel Martinelli will be playing as the false number 9 up front. And if any of these Arsenal players are to be booked in this particular encounter, none of them run the risk of actually missing out on the next game at the Emirates. So yeah, it will be actually an impressive game. I'm looking forward to it, and my prediction says that Arsenal will win this game, although Porto do boast an unbeaten record against the Gunners, right, at home, right? So it's not going to be an easy victory for Arsenal. If Arsenal are to claim victory, they will have to dig deep. They'll really have to dig deep, to say the least. You understand? So yeah, we're looking forward to that one.